Today we're going to talk about understanding the equation of a line. So this is our first lesson in a month-long unit on lines. We learned about lines way back in unit number 2, but it's been a really long time since we've talked about them. And we're going to be doing a lot less application in this unit and a lot more just straight algebra. So it says here the equation of a line allows you to calculate the location of any point on that line. So it really is kind of a roadmap for how you can find all of the different points on a line. So a point has the coordinates x and y, which is why an equation of a line has to have an x and a y. So we're going to take a look at an example here. It says the following graph shows the line y equals 2x minus 3. So you'll notice, because it's going to allow me to calculate the location of any point on that line, it has an x and a y, because a point has an x coordinate and a y coordinate. So our first one says calculate the coordinates of the point where x equals 5. And then it says verify using the graph. So I could just look where x is 5 on the graph and read off the y value, but I'd like to try using the equation. So I'm going to take the equation y equals 2x minus 3. So I know that x is 5. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to sub in the number 5. So I get y equals 2 times 5, take away 3. So I'm going to follow order of operations and I'm going to calculate. So we have multiplication and subtraction. So according to BEDMAS, we do our multiplication before our subtraction. So I'm going to start by doing 2 times 5, which is 10. Take away 3, and 10 take away 3 is 7. So that means the coordinates of that point are going to be x, which is 5. X always comes first. And then 7, which is my y value. And they should be in a bracket, and they should have a comma in between them, because that's the proper format for a point. So I've got 5, x is 5, 7, which is what our y value is. It does ask me to verify using the graph. So I am going to take a look at the graph, and I'm going to go find where 5 is on my x-axis, which would be right here. I am going to follow that up to my line, which is here, and then follow that across, and there's the 7. So it is absolutely 5 and 7. That's one of the points on that line. Now the second question says calculate the coordinates of the point where y equals -7. So this time they didn't give us the x value, they gave us the y value. So I'm going to start with my equation. Y equals 2x take away 3. But this time, instead of putting the number in for x, we're putting the number in for y. So I'm going to get -7 equals 2x minus 3. So this time I don't have all the numbers on one side, so I'm going to have to rearrange to get x by itself. So I find that easier if I flip it over first. So I'm going to put 2x minus 3 equals -7, just because I find it easier to solve if x is on the left-hand side. So I have multiplication and subtraction. I'm going to cancel out the subtraction of 3 by adding 3 to both sides. So I get 2x equals -7 plus 3 is -4. You can use your calculator to help you with that if you need to. And then I am going to cancel out this multiply by 2 by dividing by 2. And -4 divided by +2. A negative divided by a positive makes a negative. And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I got x equals -2. So that means the coordinates of the point are x, -2, and y, -7. And then I am going to use the graph to help me check that. So if I look at the y value, that's the up and down part, and I go and find -7, if I follow that across to my line and then follow that up, I notice that we're definitely at 2, that is the point, -2 and -7. Now I will say my line is a little off because I had to draw this myself, but if you use the one in the handout, it's a lot more accurate than the one I had to draw with a marker. Okay, so you can join me in the next video to talk a little bit more about the equation of a line.